What's up? I'm NyVo. Today we have the Dan Clark Audio Voce. Used to be Mr. Speakers, and it still says Mr. Speakers on here on the cable thing. It's an electrostatic headphone. It is the most scaling headphone I've heard, and what I mean by that is, depending on what chain you have, it sounds either really bad or really good. So, and I'm not even exaggerating. This is on the Hi-Fi Man Jade Energizer, which is not a very good one. This is one of the worst headphones I've heard. And on the Dave M. Scaler BHSE Blue Hawaii, this became one of the best headphones I've heard. So it really depends on the chain. On the Hi-Fi Man Jade, it just sounds like the tonality's bad. There's no soundstage, nothing technical happening. And on the SRD7 MK2, it starts to sound like the HD800. It has a fairly large soundstage it sounds quite similar to HD800, but with layering. So layering is when, if your soundstage goes out this far, HD800 leaves everything on that line, but on this one, you have layering, there's stuff near and far. So, that's the major difference between this and HD800 on that chain. But on the Dave plus M Scaler plus BHSE that I heard at Can Jam with the same headphone, it became the most immersive, best soundstage that I've heard. And yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. It's by far the best. So there's different types of soundstage and headphones, and this one does the type that to my ears feels the most natural, where things are projected out in front of you and out to the sides, and everything's out way far away from you, and lots of layering. The other main type is more star shaped, like the SR009S and the Shangri-La Senior. So those, they're not as cohesive as so like there'll be sounds here and sounds here and sounds here, but not the whole in between. It's not cohesive. But on the Voce, it is cohesive. So to me, that's more natural. So the Shangri-La Senior also has an awesome stage, but it's like a stream of sounds going way out, and this is on almost the same chain, Dave M. Scaler 3ES Elite. So Shang on that chain, it's not cohesive. That's what I'm trying to say. But this one, for being a cohesive stage, it's the best one I've heard. So as an example, I heard, I was listening to Bob Marley live, and it was like I was on the actual stage with Bob Marley, and he's singing right next to me. It was a pretty wild experience. And not only that, but you can hear people in the crowd, and you can tell where they're sitting in the crowd. Like, I specifically remember hearing people in the second row who were the loudest, and I remember a guy off to the right, and then a guy right next to him. And I remember the guy to the so it's like second row, and I don't know, this direction, maybe 10 to 15 degrees off. I could tell the guy further off to the right was taller than the one to the left. I mean, I was hearing so much detail, it's crazy. And then off to the sides, things were sounding, you can hear people cheering from like 80 yards away, just the whole crowd actually. But it's cool when you can pinpoint things happening. But it does come at a cost. So it is a really cool experience, but the drawbacks were, because with every headphone there's a drawback. Every headphone has a flaw. On that chain, there was a lack of bass, and you can tell the driver's trying to do it, but it's just not like really pushing any bass. And also there's this graininess. I guess an audiophile word for it is texture, I guess, but it's really like a grainy sound. On every object that I was hearing out in the crowd, there was like this it was overlaid with a graininess, like a, I don't know how to I guess that is the best way to describe it, but it's kind of unfair to judge it based on that though, because the soundstage is like another level from everything else. So you're, it's like getting a whole nother layer of information that you've never heard before, but then you start to notice problems with that layer, and your brain is really good at finding problems. So the brain, it'll immediately find that grain and you'll hear it right away. What else to say about it? Back on the SR7 MK2, there was actually bass. So it scales a lot. It depends on the chain. It's very picky. What else to say? So we talked about SR09S, Shangri-La, how it changes its sound based on what you plug it into. Let's look at it real quick. All right, so this is all metal. You can see the stator behind it. It's huge. This is pretty big. Pretty much all metal construction, and there's screws. These screw and unscrew. So they are detachable, but you have to unscrew them, which is kind of nice. And yeah, it's electrostatic, so it's I think the 5-pin, the pro bias on the other side. This is probably the weakest part of the headphone, is these sliders. They don't, sometimes when they're on your head, it can slide on its own. It doesn't really lock, but it's not a huge deal. The pads are nice. They're big, very open, and yeah, lightweight. It might be aluminum. It feels like it's pretty light. What else to say about it? I guess if you have one, just, get a really good energizer for it is my recommendation. But yeah, I really like it. All right, I'll see you guys later.